Hello, welcome to Gwent and to the developer stream analysis. You guys requested me to go over the changes, what it's gonna mean for the future. Is it too much? Is it enough? We're gonna talk about everything. So, first of all, the general changes. Cards nerfed will be fully refundable for 5 days. And first of all, I have to say that this is a very good thing that they actually refund you for the cards that they change. Of course, that discourages the developers somehow to go for frequent changes, because if they change the card, that means you can just fully refund it and get its value back, even if you randomly found it and craft whatever you want. However, I don't believe this system is what they should be going with, because fully refunding cards for 5 days, first of all, encourages hoarding. It encourages you to have a lot of cards, don't scrap them, just wait for the next change, and when a card gets changed, you just scrap them then for the full value. And I don't really like this. Also, 5 days, it might seem like a long time, and it's definitely gonna be enough for any like frequent players, but those who are playing less frequently will miss out on this opportunity, because there's no reason to not to take it. There's never a reason not to take it, because you can just refund it for the full value, and you can just craft it again or just craft whatever you want. So there's never a reason not to take this opportunity. And if you have like 10 versions, or like 10, well, like you have the card once plus you have 9 duplicates, then you can just sell every single one for the full value. And I don't like this for 2 reasons. It encourages hoarding, and it could like in a way screw over people, those who are not as active, and when they later return to the game, they just find out, oh my god, my cards were changed, and I can't refund them, and they're just like weak now, and I spent like months like building into those cards, and they changed it, they nerfed it, and I wasn't here for the time when they actually nerfed it, and now I'm kind of screwed. First of all, we obviously need a system like this, but what I would suggest, very much so, that instead of allowing players to refund the cards for the full value, they should do this automatically, so to speak. You keep the card. For example, you have a legendary, let's say Ragnarok. So you have Ragnarok, you crafted Ragnarok or just found Ragnarok, doesn't matter. And if they change Ragnarok, they said they're only gonna refund cards that are gonna get weaker. That actually makes sense to me, unless it's kind of like, it's a little bit like subjective, like did it get weaker, did it get stronger? If it's like it's clearly got weaker, then yes, it should get we should anything that gets buffed up will not get refunded, because like it just got better. Like, why would you want to refund it? Just for the free scraps, right? That makes sense for me. Anyway, what would be a better system is that, for example, you have Ragnarok and they change Ragnarok, nerf it, then you get 600 scraps. That's it. You can scrap it for the normal value. If you have 3 Ragnaroks, you still only get 600 scrap. If you don't have Ragnarok, then you're not gonna get like 600 scrap for it, obviously. And in the time frame you actually have the chance to scrap Ragnarok, not everyone's gonna be picking the cards that can be like scrap for the full value. Of course, this is a very limited time period, but it just shows that it's not great. And this system would encourage a full collection, so to speak. Like, I think as a card game you want to encourage full collection, but you don't want to encourage players just to hoard the cards, because the players would be like, for example, when we are talking about, for example, commons, then they could only get refunded for the difference between the crafting and the scrapping costs. And for that, that is the difference they would get. If they had, for example, CDPR changed the common cards, then like they would get 3 times the difference. But with the current system, if you have like 100 common cards, then you can just scrap every single one of them for the full value. So this would be more fair if you like, you would right away you would get the tank, but you would only get less. You would only get as much as many cards you can include in your deck. So for silvers and golds, it would be 1. You would only get refunded for a single copy. And for rares and commons, you would only get refunded for up to 3 copies. Up to 3. So you only get, well, not for free, up to 3 copies. And of course, if you don't have it, like, yeah, you're not getting refunded. And you're not extra encouraged to take those cards that can be refunded for extra value. I do believe, like, this is great. This is like, it's nice to see that they refunded cards right away, but I'm not really sure this should be the way to go about it, because like this limited time period can be like troublesome if those who return to the game, oh my god, my decks are crap now. And fully refundable, again, encourages hoarding. Maybe this should have been its own video, but I believe like this is the first thing they mention here. And first of all, I just feel like this doesn't work so well. So this had to be talked about. Common and rare milling values doubled. And currently, like there's no other way to say it. After you opened up a lot of kegs, like let's say like 100, 150, most of the time you're just gonna open up duplicates. Like most of the time, like saying like I don't know, like you're gonna see like a non-duplicate like every 10 keg or so. It's gonna be an epic. Even that is the case, maybe like 10, 15. So most of the time you're just opening up these scraps. You're just getting scraps, and it's good for nothing. You're getting like 30 scraps, and that just goes toward your next desired card. And this would increase the value of the kegs from like 30 scrap to 60. And I think this is a great change. I'm really glad that they made it, because it will feel a lot better just to open up those, so to speak, useless kegs. You're like, okay, I already have this, and like I'm gonna open up like I don't know how many, like 20 plus, 27 kegs to craft my legendary like this with the 30 scrap kegs. And I'm really glad they made this change. So thumbs up for CDPR. Great change. People that bought kegs will get bonus scraps. Oh, that's the same thing. That ties into the first one. So if you bought these kegs, oh, no. I think this is not it. Like, I think this, I've actually seen the stream. It basically says that if you already, well, for any common and rare milling you scrapped, this is actually retroactive, and you're gonna get bonus scrap for it. So those, when the next patch hits, all the commons and rares you scrapped ever, you're gonna get that value doubled into your scraps, and that's what it means. And expect to see like a lot. Expect to see like, I don't know how much. I expect to see like at least up for the 1,000, few thousands. Potentially, because that's a lot of scrap. Because most of the scrap comes from the commons, basically all of the scraps comes from the commons and rares. So we gotta see a lot of scrap. And it should allow you to, well, probably go for some fancy deck, I imagine. Leader cards only obtainable by challenges and crafting. Again, goes back to the fact, like, finding duplicates is not fun, especially if you can earn them yourself. And I feel like this is perfect, great. The challenges are not too fussy to complete. And I think this is a great way to do it, because you don't wanna just find leaders. I think it's not too bad if you're just like you're offered one, but you know you can just kind of limit your choices, and you can still pick something that you don't have. But if you just, for example, you don't have a choice, that is just what you get, then it's probably not the best. Like it's a level 20 reward. You get a leader. Like, okay, whatever. This is not really helping me out. So the powder given back for crafting challenge bug. There's a challenge bug that makes you craft first light, and it doesn't give you a powder. You just have to spend your own powder. So this is just a bug fix. But I guess people will be happy about this because that's 100 powder. I can't complain that much because most people use first light. I use first light, so I just had my premium first light. So I guess it wasn't too bad of an investment. AI dex change harder. Yeah, it's good to see that the challenges actually become challenging, because it did feel like a bit of a grind just to getting the leaders. And I guess they want it to be more of an experience. So good on them. I don't know if I'm gonna give it a shot just to see how hard they got, but I do remember some challenges. For example, the Dagon challenge was actually pretty hard, and well, relatively speaking, by bot standards, of course, like that bot that wasn't cheating. I guess he was cheating some way because he always had some. He always had the same ridiculous opening hand, and he just spam better. But by both standards, he was a tougher challenge. All mages from 3 to 4. Except the scoia'tael mage was already 4. I'm not sure because some of the mages are actually pretty strong. For example, Von Hamar. He can cast Biting Frost and Stammer for Tremors. Players generally think that he's the best mage, and I would agree with that. Water Hag is pretty strong too, in the right deck. Lacerate. Lacerate plus, I believe, like, of course you can cast Rain. That's not really great. I feel like the Rain is not usually the best. Like, it's not bad. The one in scoia'tael cost, I believe, Shield, Quen, plus I don't even know, like Fog maybe, plus Clear Sky. All of them have Clear Sky. My point is not all mages are equal, and I always felt like the one in the scoia'tael one had those crap spells because, and always had that like 4 strength because she has bad spells. But I guess that's not really the case. I guess like the selection of between 3 common cards, I mean like bronze cards, and plus 4 power is pretty good. It's a versatility plus power combined. I think it's pretty good, especially Von Hamar. Not really sure about the others. Actually, this is pretty good. So I don't know. The mages are gonna be impactful, but even as a 3-point, Water Hag was not an auto include in the monsters. Actually, I ended up using it a little bit, but eventually ended up cutting it because, I don't know, it seems like it has a good selection of spells, but unless you're putting units on the same row with Carantir and Jotun and Drowners, you're not gonna get a lot of Lacerate value, and it could be that. And you only have First Light, you can only just remove Weather, and Rain is like kinda crap, because you can just play a Vault Hunt Hound, that's 5 power plus Frost. Why would you have a 3 power plus Rain unit in your deck? That sucks. Even with the versatility that it can cast the First Light. So I don't know, I don't think this is unreasonable, so we shall see. But one for sure, Von Hamar is definitely the strongest mage out there. So let's check out the neutral cards. Ragnarok, 3-2. I think that's perfectly justified. It's basically a fog for every road now. And considering that you can like, there's a, I don't know, there's a Frost card that casts Frost on 2 rows. That's a silver card. Then this is totally fine. Like fog for 3 rows. Drought is basically rain for 3 rows. This is perfectly fine. And your opponent would still need to get rid of it. It is especially good in factions where you can place spies down, so you actually can set up into it. Because you're gonna get 6 value right away. And if they don't first light right away, but even because you gotta consider the value of the cards, like how valuable is a gold card? Because the value of the bronze card is very least 9, but more like 12, and the silvers and the bronzes just go above that by like 3 to 4 points. So at most we're talking about, like, you know, you just get out like 6 value right away over a bronze, and if they like counter it right away, you're kind of okay. But if they don't counter it right away, it could be often like game deciding. So I think this is totally fine. Maybe drought kind of suffers as well, but the same can be said about rain. So who knows? I think drought could be better if they like start building the rain synergy. That anything that makes sense with rain, then anything that makes sense with rain would make sense with drought as well. So that's it. For now, it's probably gonna be a card that's not gonna see inclusion, at least in most decks. It could be a good card if you find it early, but for the most part, I wouldn't really recommend it. Yeah, the full unicorn and Chiron X are gold. It was a silver before. It doesn't matter. It can be affected. The only actually, I'm pretty sure that it's siege row limited, so you don't even have the option to place it down. But it's mostly just, I don't know, just to like split up some things, or just like maybe help against Skellige Storm a little bit. It is not too impactful. It's another point of guy who they just can't kill. It's not a big deal. Of course, you might have wanted to buff it up, and that this can be considered a buff or nerf depending on what you want. If you wanted to interact with that 1 power guy, for example, this could be like the 1 power guy could be the Unicorn and Chiron X could be good if you want a reliable target for like a Becker's Twisted Mirror. Then you have that if you, or who knows, because you can the Beckers can hit golds, so Unicorn and Chiron X won't be hit right now. For most of the part, it's like a who cares change. Skellige Storm from left to right. Yeah, that's how the animation works anyway. So and the units slide in from the right. So this should make it easier. Should make it more obvious. So this is a good change for sure. Control team. Tie both players draw a card. Yeah, but Control team is still not good enough, unfortunately. I don't think they want to make him strong. It's just too random. Control team is just way too random, and even if you like exactly know what your opponent is running, which I believe I wanted to make a video about this guy. That this seems like the guy to punish predictability, but unfortunately he's not it, because he's just way too random, and he's just way too weak. Best case scenario, he's like an okay gold, and because of the random outcomes, it's just, you can easily get screwed. This is just a card for true gamblers right now. If you just wanna lose the game on the spot, because you're just like, best case scenario, you get an okay gold. That's it. Some golds, like many golds, are actually better than Gunter or Doom's best case scenario, so like it's really not worth gambling. Monsters, all around buffs. Unseen Elder, 4 to 5. Unseen is actually not a bad card whatsoever, but I guess the consumer archetype was weakened all across the board. Necker goes back to 3. It was 3 in the closed beta. So it basically becomes the same card. Should be totally fine. Arrakis Behemoth, 5 to 6. It was 6 in the closed beta. Without armor, it also has armor on. But it also has effort. And that effort means that it's gonna lose 1 health every time it spawns a spider. It should be pretty good, because before, with the 5-6, it could have been killed by Altus Thunder. Now, that's no longer possible. Also, the maximum amount of spiders you can get out with an Arrakis Behemoth now is 6. Therefore, you can generate, you can go up to how much? Well, get out like 6 we are talking about 18 value. Not really like 18 value. Start with 6 and you can go up to 18. So if that's what you want. So it can get strong. So it's at least better than the Thunderbolt potion. Okay, anyway. Ram Warrior, 4 to 5. So if you're eating harpies, of course, main reason is just to trigger the ban modes. But if you're, for example, eating harpy eggs, then you can just eat the eggs and they provide you with extra juicy points. And you get like plus 5 for that. So this can easily become a 15. So yeah, not bad. Not bad whatsoever. Unless the eggs get triggered. So who knows? It's actually better. The consume always works better if they don't get shut down. If they don't get shut down, it's gonna be like a 15. It's gonna be an 18. So it can get strong. Anyway, Katakan from 4 to 5. I'm not really sure if this change is justified. Katakan is already a great card. It's basically a no random goal that also kind of used as a way to like shut things down. At least I use it as a way to shut things down in non-consume decks. Just to consume key units. I use it as a way of a not bad Griff. But I believe the... Oh, it actually doesn't say, but I'm pretty sure that the Griff got buffed from 6 to 8. But it's not mentioned here. Maybe it's... Actually, they didn't show it on the stream. But it was mentioned in the Reddit post. So anyway, Katakam from 4 to 5. Maybe it's justifiable with the all-round buffs over here. Because sometimes... It's gotta be said, if Katakan doesn't find a good counter target, doesn't find a great target, it's usually eating like a 7, maybe an 8, and that's not that exciting, by any means. Also, Karen is getting bumped from 10 to 8. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Karen is a card that loses your card, but it's a lot of gold value that they can't interact with in one card that also like works better with consume cards. I think this is fine. These cards that like, I think these cards should have extra value for like securing strength. Because if you're weak, because like how strong Karen can be, like it can eat a Frightener plus he gains like 6 on top of, 8 on top of it. We're talking about 26 plus triggering spiders. Like, that's pretty good. Before that, he could become a 28. Am I right? No, it was 26 before. Am I? What? 16. I think I said it right. Never mind that. Yeah, 28, right? Yeah, 28. From 28 to 26, basically, because you always want to eat the Frightener. Or maybe something just left over, like a better card, like a situational card that's just like no longer really that good. And Karen can just eat it and hey, you're good to go. Even if you're like talking about less strength, you just have a lot of strength that cannot be interrupted. And that has a value in itself, because if you just try to slam down a 25 strength common card, then you will quickly rid of a card like Scorch or Geralt Igni, and you can't reliably run that. But Karen, like 25 strength that can be interrupted, that's different. Anyway, Fiend goes from 5 to 7. I'm not really sure because I really love the Fiend. It was struggling a little bit, but it was one of the better lockers in the game, in my opinion, because it also halves units. So if you're using it against the 10, you just halve them, like they lose 5 strength. And of course the Fiend doesn't really get a lot of value, but locking, I don't know. I guess they feel like it's justified. So I won't really argue. Maybe they want some of these cards just to be like very impactful in the faction. Who knows? I feel like the card was good enough to be included, but now it's definitely good enough to be included. In a way, it's like a little bit of a slight counter to like big cards. Also, it's a locker. The good thing about this, like some other lockers, is that it doesn't like synergize with like a specific strategy, like discard or move or something. Like no, you just simply like halve their strength. Of course, it so to speak, it's best against a specific strategy, like any big buffed up guys, and of course, if you need to shut down some abilities. And if you're just running up against like small guys with no abilities, like I guess Fiend sucks. But I feel like most of the time he's gonna find some value. So anyway, Shadows from 67, and I would say like the Shadows card is like just like triggers 3 death. Well, how's it called? Well, own death effects, and unfortunately, own death effects are not that great, especially like. One is tied to the Earth Elemental, that kind of sucks. So I guess we're not gonna see a lot of Shadows for now. Most people are just running Harpies, and if you're just like triggering like 3 Harpies, we're talking about like 15 value here. Actually like 16 value because like we are buffed up. It's not great, like not great. Nitra only affects opponent's Frost. S is mainly irrelevant, so Nitra is a card that just like doubles the effect of the Frost, but he has like 4 power. It's bad, sadly. I don't. This is a starter card, and I would love it to be good, but honestly, Nitra needs to cast Frost. That's it. It's been said. Nitra needs to cast Frost and do what else he's also doing in addition to that. Frightener, move 1 unit to his row. I don't like this right away, I'm gonna say it, because he's a Frightener. Like, people just expect... I just expect to do some frightening. Not like some kind of puller. I don't know. That would be like a good thing for something like, I don't know, like a siren or just something just luring people. But no, he's a Frightener. I do like one part of it, that it's less random. But I think there were many ways to make the Frightener's like scare effect like less random, while still keeping it pretty relevant. Like the same thing, like just frightening people. So I don't know, just move a 1 row. Like you choose, like 1 row either direction, you choose. Like only the adjacent ones. That would work in my opinion. Or just whatever row you want, but you have to place the Frightener on the row. Like, who knows? I don't know, there's many ways to do it. I just feel like he should do the frightening. In this way, I don't honestly believe it's gonna be better, because you can just put him into the Frost, and he's just gonna pull in a guy, and he's gonna be just better. It is actually a buff to Frightener, but I don't like how it should just frighten people. That is all. Foglets only die when all fogs are gone from the board. It's a small buff, so instead of just the fog that's opposite of them gets removed. If there is any fog on the board, they stay up. So this is a reasonable buff to Foglets. Considering that you can just play Vault Hounds for 5 power with the weather effect. Like playing fog and getting 6 power Foglets that like disappear when the fog gets removed. I don't know, this is a very reasonable buff in my opinion. Anyway, Clan Broke for Hunter, no longer veteran, is regressing. Regressing means that it doesn't keep its accumulated strength over the rounds. And it could get ridiculously out of control. So that was an expected change. So that's a good one. No longer veteran, I'm not really sure about that. I guess that's fine. Fine, I guess, whatever. I don't really get it. What it is like a ability like worth like 1 point, because it's 0 at the first turn, it's 1 at the second turn, and 2 at the third one. So I don't know. I guess no longer veteran, whatever. We just see. It's gonna be still good against Frost, but it won't be that crazy resurrect later. I don't think the removal of veteran affects it that much, but it's regressing, that is crucial, and it had to happen in my opinion. Can create war criers, self-weaken from 2 to 1. So it how it works perfectly, I'm not even sure. Well, for sure it strengthens, no, actually boosts units to its right or left. The 3 units to its right or left that are wounded. So maybe this gonna enable the wounding decks, because it used to be like it's 7 strength, and it used to like drop by 2 for every unit boosted. Like, don't get me wrong, like I hope we're gonna see more of this. The reason why I'm a little foggy on the card is because no one used this. I've not seen it once in the game, and I guess that just really justified this buff, most definitely. Anyway, Berserker Marauder, strength by 1 for every damage, and damage itself by 1. Well, Berserker Marauder is a weak card. No one used it. I just gotta see. I'm curious if the Wonding deck archetype will see play, because it was actually a pretty, I don't know, pretty popular archetype in the closed beta. I guess many would disagree, but it was an archetype that actually popped up in the Challenger Championship. It was a very reliable way to get value out of Skellige, so I don't know. It should be viable for sure. Deuteron Demon from 11 to 12. Another card that synergizes well with the Wounding archetype. So they are mostly want to enable that, for sure. Savage Bear hits after opponent unit resolves its effect. So Savage Bear is a... yeah, so you will have the opportunity to do your effect, including killing Savage Bear before Savage Bear triggers. So you can just resurrect, you can just lock it, and you're not gonna get hit in the face. So that's definitely a direct nerf to Savage Bear. And Savage Bear won't be able to use this as a counter against the... well, many, like some archetypes now, because Savage Bear was used just to like ping off the 1 strength units before they actually did anything, and that was pretty brutal. And that's why it actually found its way into many decks, like at least as a like a tech choice. Like, yeah, like 1 or 2 Savage Bears, but like this, I don't think so. It's only gonna find its way into specific decks that are reliant on damaging your opponents. Not by a lot, but like by any amount. Queensguard no longer veteran. I believe this change was mainly made because, well, first of all, this change kind of like makes no sense when you kind of know the game. But I believe this change was mainly made because maybe some beginners feel like the Queensguard runs can be cheesy. I don't like this change whatsoever. Like I find it really hard to try to justify it. There's no way to justify it, especially with the Savage Bear combo, because Savage Bear was kind of used as a way to like prevent Vikovaros from like stealing your Queensguard. I do want to see a new keyword for some Skellige units, because the way their graveyard can be too easily interrupted, and every single time you see a Skellige deck at high level, it's never reliant on its graveyard. Never. It always tries to win some other way, because if you try to rely on your graveyard, you're not gonna get far. Because your opponent is gonna steal your units, and you're just gonna or consume your units, or just, I don't know, fly units over from their graveyard, from your graveyard to theirs, or whatever. You're just gonna lose them, and you're gonna cry. And, yeah. Queensguard no longer veteran, so Queensguard gonna be weaker, but I don't know. Queensguard strategy is the easiest to shut down, so I don't know. I don't know what would happen to Queensguard. Maybe just the devs just realized that, oh, Queensguard is useless right now. May as well just until we can figure it out in the future. May as well just make sure that like some beginners are not too frustrated by it. But the thing is, they also give you like the discard strategy, like Ermion and I don't know, the other guy who hits for 5. to start out with. Yet, they nerfed the Queen's Guard. That would actually make sense with the discard strategy. So, I'm not really sure what the hell they're doing. I would love to see the Queen's Guard as a viable strategy early on. Because that's actually what you get as Skellige. You get Ermion. You get like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just discard, no problem. But no, that's not gonna work. If you try to use Queen's Guard, you're gonna be owned. Well, it's gonna work. Every strategy can work to some level, but it's definitely not the best strategy. And nerfing the Queen's Guard only is gonna make it a lot worse. And it might seem like, oh yeah, no longer veteran, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal, because that means you're probably gonna resurrect the Queen's Guard in the following turns. That means you lose 9 power. That's almost like a bronze card worth of power over the entire game. And if that's your entire strategy, the Queen's Guard, then 9 power is a lot. Also, you're probably gonna make sure that you have a 4th Queen's Guard as well. So you're gonna not lose like 9 power, you're gonna lose like 12 power. That's like a proper Thunderbolt potion level of value. So that's gonna be a lot. Queen's Guard, no longer veteran, actually matters quite a bit. Because at the round 3, it's gonna be like, you're gonna miss like 2 base strength on it. That's like buffing it up with a Smith first round, every single one of them, and you're missing that. That matters a lot. So for now, Queen's Guard is gonna be dead. It was actually dead before, so I'm actually like, hey, who cares? Queen's Guard was dead already. I don't really like this change, because, come on, Erbion, give the beginners Erbion and make the Queen's Guard complete garbage. What you on about? Maybe they should just buff him up. Like, I don't know, make them really good, like 5 strength. Then we can have a talk about those guys. But like this, who knows? Also, I would like a keyword in Skellige. I know I not really want to like promote uninteractivity or however we call it, but like some way to like maybe not get completely crapped on, because Skellige is the easiest faction to just disrupt, and you can just like steal their stuff, and like if they are relying on their graveyard, like they're just gonna like lose it. Like maybe just some way to like make sure that, you know, some units that cannot be like resurrected, stolen from the graveyard, something like that. Maybe they just like spend some resources to do it. I don't know. Anyway, Northern Realms. Scavenging Sergeant boosts loyal units with same power and has crewmen. So that is the guy that like 3 power and boosts every identical unit, like that has the same power, and now has crewmen. I don't know what that's gonna matter. I guess you wanna use it in some machine deck now, because before it wasn't that great. You get, well, it was also pretty bad when your opponent ran Epidemic and Scorch. It's not great by any means, and it's gonna have the same problem. So realistically speaking, this unit will always suck. That's what I'm saying. And putting crewman on it just makes it the guy for the machine strategy, but the machines, I'm not really sure about those. I guess we're gonna see. John Natalis, no more effort. John Natalis was a 10 strength that made all the machines fire for 2, but he lost 1 strength for each shot. Now, I believe he's an 8 strength now, and makes all the machines fire for 2 again, but no more effort. So you need to have at least 3 machines on the board to make John Natalis actually not worth it. So you would need to have like 4 machines on the board to make John Natalis okay, I guess. I don't see him getting included even in machine decks, even if players will run such things. Photos boost silver also, and loyal units only. Okay, yeah. So Photos doesn't boost no loyals. That is all the change. Also, Photos went from 4 to 5. That's just a small change that seemed to be not, actually, it might be. Said later. Anyway. What else we got? Reinforced Ballista from 4 to 5. I'm pretty sure that's the 4 to 6. At least that is what we saw. So it's 6 power now, and shoots for 2, plus +2 for every crewman. That's the 4 to 6. So it's an 8 power base, and with one crewman it's gonna be like a 10. With 2 crewmen it's gonna be a 12. So it might be actually not complete garbage. I know it's crazy, but it depends on the viability of the crewman. It's really hard to see about at least the machine strategy, because the machine strategy is pretty offensive. Like, it's very, well, somewhat aggressive. You're always shooting your opponent, and if they like getting shot or they just don't give you a lot of targets, it doesn't work. It's just gonna flop. Anyway, Redinian Knight. So it's 5 strength and gets buffed up by 2 power and 2 armor at the start of the round. If it doesn't have armor on, now it says 6 base armor. So it's gonna, you can just slap it down as a 6, and it becomes an 8 with 2 armor on. And it's actually it works pretty well in weather, but you don't know if you're gonna be up against weather. So Redinian Knight, I don't expect a lot of use from him, and because it's like melee row only, you can't really like put it into weather. So yeah, Siege Tower goes from 5 to 6. I'm not sure if it's gonna be good enough, but I guess we just gotta see, because these all-around buffs could add up. So I wouldn't be surprised if Consume Master suddenly took the lead and started some serious business. Anyway, Vest from 67. So if you get out a trio, then you just Vest is just gonna rush out, and you're gonna get 7 power. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, it works if you're like running a lot of trios. Like, okay, Bloody Baron went from 4 to 6. It's still a complete garbage card, and there's not much to talk about him. Dijkstra goes from 4 to 3. So Dijkstra plays the top cards you have in your deck, but you give away the strength of Dijkstra. And actually, like, you can maybe able to like block with Dijkstra as well. So you can use his body just to like, I don't know, like put it next to the Vran and just block something. So it can be used tactically as well. But for the most part, you just like play 2 cards, including golds, and you give away 3 strength. I think that's not bad whatsoever. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts popping up quite a bit in all-around decks if players are running such things again. Blue Star Scout has a crewman. He does. Okay, so I guess they are really pushing the machine strategy. Maybe it should be a lot easier to like trigger the machines now. And I guess that's gonna be quite important. Anyway, Priscilla shuffled back instead of put in the bottom. And funny enough, people said that this is actually a nerf to Priscilla, because Priscilla plays in a way that you put it on the board and she buffs up by 3 every turn for 3 turns. After that, she goes back. She went back to the bottom of your deck, but now she actually shuffled back into your deck. So you actually get like 9 random, well, 9 power combined, but you actually get 3 random buffs a turn. And 9 power from a gold card, that's a joke. And if you ever draw her into again, then you're just gonna get that same crappy 9 buff. So I have no idea what this is. I have no idea. I don't have a faintest clue. I guess Priscilla helps against getting milled, but that's all I could think about, maybe? She's a terrible card, and I would really like to see her being so not terrible. She could just be placed like, hey, I put her on the board, she gives me some buffs. Maybe that would be too boring and too strong, who knows. But like this, she's just too bad. Double Titan Protector from 42, not buffed by golds. So that's not gonna matter too much, I believe, because spell deck plays a lot of cards. When I played my spell deck, just because I had the pieces, They sometimes went up to over 20. So this basically means like you lost like 6 points in a game. And not buffed by golds. Well, you might run like 1 gold in your deck. Resurrect, or maybe not even 1. So that really not matters too much. Also, this change is combined with Italy, so she gives away like 2 more strength. So we over are talking about like 8 strength-ish. Maybe like if you're like talking like are we talking about 8 strength? Yeah, like 8 strength. Like you're kind of like screwed with. Also not buffed by golds. You might just like miss out on like one on that one, but it's not a huge deal. So I wouldn't be surprised if spell scoia'tael stayed being a thing. Also, I would rather see these Dobratan protectors different instead of just like going all in on the spells. Maybe it should be like 4 base strength, gain 2 for each spell played, up to 12, something like that. Like maybe it would be too strong, who knows? I'm just like just throwing an idea out. Like it should have a cap. You know, you don't have to go all in on the spells. You can have like a spell archetype. He's gonna get strong. He's gonna be useful. But you don't have to like go all in on the spells to make him good. And I believe that would promote a healthier deck. Breed Officer from 5 to 6. I actually tried out that deck archetype pretty like somewhat recently. And I'm not really convinced that this is gonna be enough. If these Breed Officers help you mulligan away, but when you want to mulligan away, it's the Breed Officers that you want to mulligan away because they suck. Like we have to consider that the value you want from bronzes, it kind of starts at 12. And Breed Officers give you like 6, plus the mulligan thingy. Like, that's kind of like useless. So, I'm not saying it's useless, but like, how much is it worth? Considering that you can mulligan 3 times at the start of the first turn. And once more at the start of each round. So you get like 5 mulligans. And Breed Officers, well, I don't know. I don't know how could you get so much value from the mulligans, because I feel like you can't. Even with the combo with the Commando Neophyte that actually got nerfed right now. The Commando Neophytes are just I don't see these guys doing anything. Like, that's just really worth it. Again, they need to like shoot like 3 times to say like, oh yeah, they are kind of worth it. But they never do. Well, they can shoot with like Francesca 3 times, but you're probably not gonna use them with Francesca all the time. So their average value is probably below a bronze card. Anyway, especially now that they actually can be killed even before they give you their value, so to speak. Breed Sappers from 67. So these are the ambush cards. And now they went from 6 to 7. Like, honestly, these cards suck, so I don't know. Like, the only reason the ambush cards were any good, maybe, is because players buffed them up and they played them late, so they couldn't be interacted with. But now they can be, I guess they can be locked, but that doesn't really matter too much. I don't know, like, they're just too weak. I like that they are, like, careful. It's just like, hey, this is a card that cannot be interacted with. That, but I think it would be fine at least 8, because it's just way too weak like that. Alias from 6 to 8. So Alias basically destroys a unit. I believe just bronze only. Then damages another unit by its strength. I don't see how it's gonna be good unless you need like very high. Like very high damage, and you actually have high damage units, or maybe just some units that like you wanna kill for sure for some reason. But scoia'tael is not really running those units. Sassy from 67. Oh, this is a very unfortunate scenario for the starting legendary for scoia'tael, because she is weak. for every dwarf or elf, she's actually gets like 1 plus power. But come on, like how much power? Like let's be conservative. Let's say you want like 14 power from a gold card, which is just misleading because like you need a lot more than that to make the cut. Then we are talking about 7 units on the board. 7 dwarves or elves. And I'm not really convinced that you can just really pull that off like all the time. I don't think you can get like average 14 value from this card at all. It's more like 11, 12, I don't know. Maybe like 12, 13, like average value. Like, of course, sometimes you just gotta have a huge board and you put down Sassy and she's gonna be okay, maybe. But other times you're just gonna have like maybe one other dude and put down Sassy and wow, it's bad. Itlin's still a good card, even with this nerf. If you look at it, you can just play like 2 Thunderbolt potions and you get like 20 strength from her. So that's okay. Thunderbolt potion is a cool spell. You can just play like 2 Stamina for Tremors. And you can, if they have a lot of guys, you can just hit them for like 32 and -4. That's still pretty good. So Itlin is very versatile and you can be pretty strong. Also, if you're only playing like 2 rallies, that should be good. Also, Francesca from 4 to 5. So it's a slight move to Francesca, but it's not too interesting. Free Dragon boost loyal only. So it's a slight boost to Free Dragoon that is 6 strength and boosts the unit in your hand by 1. I don't know if this is gonna make the boost hand strategy any good. Probably not. Dwarven Mercenary can target opponents, 1 buff. So this is the guy that has a... Yeah, it can moves an ally and buffs them up. But I guess it could synergize better with Weather if you can move them. I guess it's just more versatile, but for the most part you just want the buff from the Dwarven Mercenary. When the Neophyte again got nerfed for no reason. This unit sucks anyway. Malcolm Guard boosts Dwarf from 5 to 4. Again, an odd nerf. Actually, the Dwarves deck popped up quite a bit when the patch hit. And players were struggling to keep up with their strength. But Malcolm Guard is like 10 strength dudes. It's like okay. Like only with dwarves? I don't know, I don't think this guy needed a nerf at all. I guess fine, like 10 strength. Like what's the big deal? You can play the Thunderbolt potion for 12. So like 12 strength dude. What's the deal? Also you can play the Hawker healer for like 10 as well. I guess like a Thunderbolt potion is not really a great option for the dwarfs, so I guess this guy, I'm not sure. So I guess he got nerfed. I don't know if this was justified. I guess you only needed 1 target and like it was 10 strength. It wasn't too hard to pull it off. I don't know. Probably won't make the dwarf deck amazing, because the dwarf deck can be shut down somewhat easily, and that is why it somewhat quickly lost popularity. Despite its early popularity in, I don't know, like the first 2, maximum 3 days of the open beta. And Nilfgaard. John Cavade from 4 to 3, slight nerf. Vicor Medic from 3 to 1. Vicor Novice, so yeah. The Novice, the guys that can trigger ambassadors or emissaries, their abilities, and Vicor Medic is now doomed. And they could just chain trigger them before, and they just like you get like 3 plus another 3 plus another 3. It's still gonna be the case, but them dropping to 1 strength, it's gonna be less of a concern. Because thing is, Nilfgaard just had a lot of value, a lot of tempo as well. And I guess this is gonna address that quite significantly. Mainly cutting down that tempo. Still really good with thinning, so I wouldn't count these guys out whatsoever. Peter going from 6 to 4. Yeah, this guy was extremely powerful. You can use this to heal your unit. You can also use this to like just completely neuter a Katakam, for example, no matter what it ate. So very impactful unit and very versatile. And this is the starter unit. And if you have Nilfgaard and you're thinking about cutting this guy, don't. It's still gonna be ridiculous. Imperial Golem. Yeah, these guys got weakened. And of course, they added Temple to the leader opener. So instead of like getting like 17 power at the board with one move, you get out 26. Or maybe even sometimes more than that. And like, okay, that happened. What I'm gonna do now, you can just like play one card, play another card, like then maybe play another card. And you just like find out like, oh yeah, he actually like forced me to play so many cards with only one card because that was just like, that card had like crazy tempo. And I guess those who have had problem with the Imperial Golem tempo opener are gonna be happy about this change. It was a very brutal change for sure. It was very, very brutal combo for sure, and it could easily make the opponent like lose some cards by that, or just quickly give up the turn because like, wow, that is just too much. Fringy Levigo, bad spying set to 1 instead of 2, so this is like a slight buff to her. I don't know if you're gonna sleep here. I'm really hoping yes. It kind of depends on the fact that will we see like spell decks? Like, will your opponent use like decks that actually have units all the time? If so, I think we're gonna see her quite a bit. I do wanna see her because she's very interesting. Let's see if Banana hits shuffles from either graveyard. Really? So this is a buff to her. Is this real? I don't recall seeing this in the stream. But if so, then you can actually shuffle your opponent's Roach plus your own Roach into your own graveyard, into your deck. That just seems unreal. I don't think this card needs a buff because even just shuffling back your own Roach into your deck basically gives a 5. Well, and having a gold card to play basically gives Asir, who has a 10 base power, like +5 on top of it. Plus also you like put back a silver. Like, you put back a silver and like, okay, I have access to that silver again if you have a Kahir, or maybe you just didn't use like John Cavate's ability. Or you can just draw, who knows. You might just draw into it. I don't know. I hope this isn't incorrect because this would be just broken. And actually this just encouraged players to not use Roach. Because if Asir just puts your Roach plus their own Roach into their graveyard, then Asir is just a 20-point card. And she's just gonna be an auto-include and everything. Rain Farm for 67. I have no idea why this change happened. Because Rain Farm is actually one of the best cards currently. It is used in most Nilfgaard decks because you can actually guarantee like Joachim. Like Joachim is just crazy good. Like Joachim is like, I don't know, like 15 strength at least. Like if you were talking about like Nilfgaardian Knights, like pulling Nilfgaardian Knights, and like Rain Farm with Rain Farm, like it's gonna be like a 22 now. Also you can just pull Cantarella and you can just like play a spy for like -3 strength. That's just crazy. Plus you're thinning your deck. Rain Farm is just ridiculous. And I wouldn't be surprised if he like just gets tuned down at one point. Of course, if you don't have spies left in your deck, or you're only pulling a emissary, it's not that great, but it's still not bad. Anyway, T-board from 10 to 8. Yeah, that is perfectly justified. Also, gotta keep in mind that T-board only draws your opponent a bronze card, and your opponent might not have a bronze card, or that bronze card may be situational. So yes, the downside of T-board doesn't always work. So T-board is a ridiculous card. Again, big fat gold that cannot be interacted with. So that's kind of troublesome. And Leto goes from 5 to 7. And I'm not really sure if like did they change, because the thing is, Leto said that it boosted it, I don't know, it strengthened itself for the unit it consumed, so to speak. And strengthen means that if it gets debombed, for example, then it turns to silver, but keeps its strength. But that's not how it worked. It actually, Leto actually boosted himself from the unit he consumed left and right. And if you actually debombed him, then he lost his strength. So you can actually use him offensively. Like, when offensively used, he's always 1 strength. And you could just like debomb him and like, oh yeah, like he Leto ate like 40 points, but now he got debombed into a 1. And your opponent is gonna cry about it. And that is actually extremely strong. Also, it can be used now defensively for like a plus, as a +7. So actually, you're gonna, if you place him as a loyal, you're gonna have 7 strength Leto, and you can like think him as a little bit like a T-boy. So for example, you have a lot of guys that maybe get interrupted, or maybe they just got under the weather, and you're just gonna play Leto, and you don't have to like get rid of the weather. You just play Leto, combine all their strength into 1 unit, and for example, you have like 40 core strength that your opponent most likely cannot do anything with, and now they just have to let it go. So pretty impactful. We shall see. So what I think is gonna happen here? Nilfgaard is gonna stay a ridiculously strong faction for sure. Look at this rain farm. It's less of a it's gonna be less about Tibor, a little bit less, but he's still gonna be very, very good. Tibor is still gonna be great. The thing is, Nilfgaard has a lot of strong units, and I guess Rainform is gonna be like a must-have. Nilfgaard has a lot of strong units. Scoia'tael, I'm not really sure what to make of Scoia'tael. Like, of course the spell archetype is gonna be a little bit weaker, but I don't think their Murgen archetype is quite good enough. And weakening their dwarf archetype, maybe a little bit buffing it, but come on, that's like making it a little weaker plus making it a little stronger. It just doesn't really like, I don't know. I don't really see dwarf archetype really dominating anything. It's okay, but it's not great. I guess this is the archetype you actually have to go with when starting out the game, because you actually get sassy. No realms, it's kind of impossible to say what's gonna happen to them. Lot of terrible cards. Priscilla, Bloody Baron, never use these. Dijkstra, actually a pretty good card, but Northern Realms mostly struggle with. Actually, there's the one card that everyone expected to be mentioned, is the Reaver Hunter. Reaver Hunter is a ridiculous card. It's single-handedly carrying Northern Realm right now, because all the other cards suck. And it looks like they didn't nerf it. And I'm pretty sure that these cards that is listed here, like getting like, oh yeah, this useless unit got 1 strength. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, look at this. This useless unit got 2 strength. Actually, it's 2 strength, I'm pretty sure. Oh, look at that. This useless unit got 1 strength again. It's gonna add up to a whole lot of never gonna get used, I believe. But hey, I'm kind of looking forward to it, if that is not the case. Who knows? Maybe it's gonna work out, because we can have a lot more crewmans. Like Blue Stripes has crewmen, the Cadvany Sergeant has crewmen, so it's gonna be a lot easier to trigger all these machines. And if you can just trigger them for like 12 points easily, then that's a big difference. So who knows? I'm kind of looking forward to it, but it's impossible to say without seeing it. But yeah, I don't know. Not terribly optimistic. Kind of depends on how much you can shut down your opponent, because this whole siege archetype is based on the fact that your opponent is playing a lot of units and you can kill him. So anyway, clan book for Hunter, no Logan, yeah. So I guess Skellige will be still carried by Morgvar for the most part, and that's kind of how it works. Warcry archetype might see some love. You can never know. I think it's worth trying for sure. But it just needs to be tried out. Monsters, obviously the consume archetype is pushed, and the other archetypes are not really like weakened. Actually, one change is missing from here. Is the buff of the Woodland Spirit from 5 to 7, and that's actually a pretty significant change, and that should easily make that card far more enticing. Because if your fog is not removed and the foglets are not removed, then you can just play the Woodland Spirit for like 10 strength right away. Also, you play 3 doggies that also serve as tokens for the Thunderbolt Potion. And you also get out the 3 foglets. So you get out 16 strength plus a fog. That's not so bad. So neutral, yeah. This is kind of it. They don't really like nerf anything here. They just made the consume archetype better a little bit. And we shall see if that all-round buff is gonna help it out. Also, the foglets are only dying when all fog is gone. This kind of helps out the other archetypes a little bit as well. For the most part, it's just totally fine. And hopefully not everyone will be spamming Arnar. Fingers crossed for that one. Anyway guys, I think this is it. Hope you guys had fun, and I guess that's it. Tell me if you want to see more of this, and tell me if you like this. So that's it guys, and see you next time.